Hare Krishna, everyone. Danavat Pranams. Jai Srila Prabhupada. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this month's talk or presentation or episode of Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bite-Size Talks. As you know, we are giving regular bite-sized talks or presentations on the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Here at the Hare Krishna Project, we have a passion, we have a huge interest and enthusiasm for sharing the teachings of Srila Prabhupada with the ordinary, everyday Western public. And also, as you know, here at the Hare Krishna Project, we have a preference, a very strong preference for reading from and distributing Srila Prabhupada's original books. So we only read from Srila Prabhupada's original books. So for these Bhagavad Gita as it is, bite-sized talks presentations, I will only talk from all publications of Srila Prabhupada's that are pre-1978. So this is the 1972 Macmillan edition of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And as you know, here at the Hare Krishna Project, we do sell copies of Srila Prabhupada's original books. If you go to the Hare Krishna Project website, you can find the URL address here on Facebook or on YouTube. Click on the website, go to shop, and you can see the copies of Srila Prabhupada's original books that we currently have for sale. So if you'd like an original copy of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 1972 edition, get in touch. We would love to hear from you. Okay, every month we will read, we do read a verse from Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we read Srila Prabhupada's purport, and then I will give a very, very, very short talk on it, because these presentations are not about me talking. They're purely about, or should be about, me reading from the Bhagavad Gita and sharing Srila Prabhupada's words and teaching as they are. Okay, actually, I have to say this month's verse is one of my all-time favorites in the whole of Vedic literature. A big one. I'm reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verse 7. For me, in my own spiritual journey, this verse was one of the verses that actually brought me into the Krishna consciousness movement. Must have been about 20 years ago. I was studying the Hare Krishna movement at university, and I had come from a Christian background. Many of you have heard my story before, a bit boring. And it was this verse that really did it for me, because as an academic and as a man, I wanted to fix everything together in my head and work out what it all meant and how all these religions linked together. And the answer for me came from Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verse 7. So I'm going to read it for you today. Okay. So Lord Sri Krishna says to his disciple Arjuna, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. I love that. And this is Srila Prabhupada's purport or commentary or explanation of what the verse is about. The word Srijami, so the word Srijami is significant herein. Srijami cannot be used in the sense of creation, because according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srijami means that the Lord manifests in himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapara Yuga of the 28th millennium of the 8th Manu in one day of Brahma, still he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations, because he is completely free to act in many ways at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord directly orders. At the end of the Gita, that highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretexts of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendency still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of non-violence. Therefore, each and every avatar or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatar unless he is referred to by scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can advent himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter, to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 + 2 = 4 in a mathematical principle. That is true both in the beginner's arithmetic class and the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of the 4 orders and the 4 statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. I'm going to read the verse just one more time. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. When I was at university, I studied lots of religions. I studied Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, paganism, Sikhism, the Church of Scientology. I remember the Irreligion movement, which are the kind of one of the flying saucer cult groups. And I was fascinated with them all. Well, most of them anyway, because I was always strongly of the view from a young age that there was truth, or there can be truth found in all religions. All these religions, all these spiritual practices seem to be kind of saying the same thing. If you look at the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, if you look at the teachings of Lord Jesus, the Son of God, if you look at the teachings of Lord Buddha, even if you look at the teachings of, I don't know, Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of the Church of Christ Scientist, they're all kind of saying the same thing. They're talking about how to build a relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Person, and how to become God conscious. I remember being at university and really thinking and feeling that there has to be truth in all of these religions. But how do they fit together? And it wasn't until I literally read this verse and Srila Prabhupada's purport that it all made sense. It all kind of slotted into place for me, that all of these prophets, all of these sons or daughters of God, all of these messages from God were teaching the same message. They were sharing the same message, that of loving God, but they were doing it in a different way, and they were presenting the message slightly differently according to time, place, and circumstance, because the people of that time needed to hear that message in a particular way. The comparison or the analogy I often use is I pretend it's somebody's birthday. Let's pretend I'm trying to. Usually, I give this talk to children or teenagers in schools, but let's pretend I have a friend called David, and I have some friends called David, and it's David's birthday, and David gets how popular is David? David gets 20 birthday cards through the post. People don't send birthday cards so much these days, but David receives 20 birthday cards through the post. Now, all of these birthday cards look different. They're all in different types of envelopes. The envelopes have different styles, and the birthday cards have different designs, and maybe even the message is slightly different. But ultimately, the essence or the meaning behind each birthday card is exactly the same. Happy birthday, David. All the envelopes look different, or the birthday cards look different, but the message is the same. Happy birthday, David. One of the things that I love about the Krishna consciousness movement, and I genuinely mean this, is that we are not sectarian. You don't have to join the Hare Krishnas in order to have a relationship with the Supreme Lord. We don't go around saying, or at least we shouldn't go around saying, that unless you join the Hare Krishna movement, you're going to hell. Thankfully, that's not a part of our theology. That's not a part of our Gaudiya Vaishnav set of teachings. Srila Prabhupada said in his teachings, in his ministry, that if you're a Christian, then read the Bible. If you're a Muslim, read the Quran. Everyone should do something. Take up a spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada also talked about the power of chanting the holy name or the holy names. And he spoke highly of different mantras and different names in different traditions, whether that's the name of Jehovah or Yahweh or Jesus or Mother Mary or Vaheguru in the Sikh tradition. Srila Prabhupada came to the West all of those years ago to share the message of bhakti, the teachings of bhakti, in a way with the public that was inclusive, that was not sectarian, that was loving and kind. The Krishna consciousness message is for everyone, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or a Hindu. Everyone can take something away from Prabhupada's teachings, from the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, and particularly from the words of Lord Krishna himself. Lord Krishna says in that most loving and inclusive way to his disciple and his friend Arjuna in chapter 4, verse 7 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Hare Krishna.